Hi, AV Clubbers. Welcome to another installment of DVR Club. I am staff writer Alex McCown.
And I'm staff writer Joshua Alston.
And this week we're going to be talking about episode 5 of Wayward Pines. This episode is called The Truth. Holy hell. I don't even know where to begin. This is one of the most audacious episodes of television narratively I've seen in years. Possibly in the top 10 all time. Josh?
I don't know if I'm willing to go that far yet. It's definitely interesting and not what I would have expected them to do at this point. In that it's completely almost Ethan free.
Yeah, let's get into this. Our top storyline this week, of course, is going to be the orientation room with Ben Burke at Wayward Pines School. This is, of course, the scene where Hope Davis basically delivers a 20-minute monologue straight to camera, explaining what exactly is going on in Wayward Pines.
This is not the year 2014. This is the year 4028.
This was jaw-dropping to me, both sort of as a device for actually doing it this way and when they actually revealed the story and the fact that, oh, we're not in 2015, we're in the year 4028.
I kind of loved it. If somebody told me there's going to be an episode where it's basically all exposition, I would have been like, that sounds terrible. But for whatever reason, it kind of worked. One thing I thought was interesting was that there's so many now lost parallels. You've got the wall, the electrified wall that's supposed to be keeping something out. And you've got now the parallel with, like, it reminded me of like the Jacob scenes where they're indoctrinating them with the information about Jacob and his plan for the island and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very Lost-esque at this point, but in a much more upfront way.
Yeah, and with that interesting sort of youth reversal thing where the kids aren't allowed to tell the adults what's actually happening in the town, because anytime that's happened in the past, the parents basically lose all hope and kill themselves. This storyline, of course, is happening concurrently with the storyline where Teresa, the realtor, is showing around Mr. Wayne Johnson to his new house, and in doing so is actually trying to get at some of the sort of juicy what actually happened to them when they entered Wayward Pines.
These chambers, and they were all filled with what? With people.
Teresa takes this surprisingly well, I would say.
I mean, at this point, you know, I figure anybody could deliver any information. You just be like, that sounds reasonable enough. That's her part of the interesting structure that the episode has, which we can talk about as well.
Yeah, let's talk about the structure here in a little section we like to call Construction Zone. Mostly because this was a fascinatingly constructed episode of television. And Josh, I know you were in particular sort of taken with the way that these different narrative arcs, each member of the Burke family had their own little storyline.
Yeah, I mean, part of it that's so interesting is the previous episode ends with the cliffhanger with Ethan climbing up this
literal
crazy,
cliffhanger.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you assume the next thing is going to be Ethan's quest to get out of Wayward Pines, and then the episode is almost entirely free of Ethan.
He had almost no lines throughout the whole episode.
Exactly.
It would cut to him periodically going through the woods. I mean, it starts off with him so that we know right away that these are in fact monsters, right? Because he gets slashed pretty badly, a pretty nasty gash on the shoulder. But other than that, yeah, he's basically just used as a tool by which we sort of see Ben learning the true secret of Wayward Pines and Teresa on her own sort of mission to get this done. Which, as you point out, is interesting because by the end of the episode, all three members of the Burke family have their own sort of separate pieces of the puzzle that actually together is going to give you, could give you arguably the fullest picture possible of Wayward Pines. The third thing we want to talk about this week is a little thing we like to call the Monster Mash. This, of course, because we learn definitively this week that there are indeed monsters outside the walls of Wayward Pines. Although maybe monsters isn't the best choice of words for this.
They are abbeys.
Yes, abbeys.
Aberrations. I just want to say, like, when she first said abbeys, it just was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, granted, I don't think there would be like another thing that they could call them that would be like, oh, that sounds perfectly reasonable. Like, I probably would have thought anything was stupid, and I'll be like used to it by the next episode. If this was an ongoing series, if this was open-ended, you would get to this episode and be like, I'm out, sorry. Yeah. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah, this would be a real Jump the Abbey episode.
Exactly, it really would.
All right, and with that, we turn to our speculation corner. This, of course, is where we normally come up with theories about what's going to happen next. I have no clue what is going to happen next.
Yeah, I don't know. This is information that I definitely didn't think we would be getting in episode 5.
If anything else, I feel like this is the first step towards getting Ethan Burke to really resigning himself to being in Wayward Pines,
Right.
to seeing that he literally has no other options. This is humanity's future. This is his only hope to survive with his family. He's going to have to probably step back in and take over a role in the town.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, you could literally tell me that this is all taking place in the mind of a penguin that's addicted to oil, and I'd be like, sure, that makes sense. Why not? That's just as reasonable.
Yeah, I have no idea where the thing's going, but I will say that for an episode that conveyed so much information and so much just weird information, I am surprisingly wanting to know what happens after this.
This show has really come out of nowhere and surprised me with how fun and just sort of great crackerjack summer
It's
entertainment
perfect
it is.
like summer TV.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for this week's installment. We'll see you next week on DVR Club. Until then, I'm Alex McCown.
And I'm Joshua Alston.
Bye-bye.